It is Wednesday, August the 27th. Good morning. Welcome to your Perfect Day Starter, the Morning Brief. I'm Kayode Okikele.
And I'm Jeffrey Uzoma. As always, we'll do the best we can to bring you up to speed and keep that promise with the happenings in the country. Welcome.
You're welcome. Our President Bola Tinubu is still in Brazil and is sending home comments, messages, and some wins as well. In fact, the president acknowledged the train that derailed yesterday. Don't worry, we'll give you all of those insights. But one of his trips is causing some sort of furore, particularly the trip to Japan. TICAD has been one very controversial meeting. First started with the booth, the empty booth, and now with the recent pronouncement by the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, JICA. So JICA had a meeting with Nigerian African delegations, I should say, and they sort of tagged some towns as African or with African nations like Ghana, Nigeria. For Nigeria, it was Kisarazu, but that is actually not the story. The story is that in the statements that the Nigerian government put out, so this was a picture that accompanied when some of those cities were designated as hometown for Nigerians. So when the Nigerian government put out a statement, the Nigerian government statement reads thus. It says the government of Japan named the city of Kisarazu as the hometown for Nigerians. So we're going to start with the Nigerian government statement. So yes, as a hometown for Nigerians willing to live and work in the country as part of its strategic efforts to deepen cultural diplomacy, promote economic growth, and enhance workforce productivity. Now, that statement goes on to say that under this new partnership announced on the sidelines of TICAD, the Japanese government will create a special visa category for highly skilled, innovative, and talented young Nigerians who want to move to Kisarazu to live and work. And that got a lot of people excited. I mean, naturally, a lot of people love to travel, right? So that statement was put out by the Nigerian government. It was signed by the Director of Information at the State House, Abiodun Olatunjoye, on August the 22nd. But fast forward to August the 25th, the Japanese government put out a statement, a counter statement on their own website, and that is what you saw earlier. So let's show you what the Japanese government said. It said facts regarding the JICA Africa hometown. And, it went on and on about the announcements, the launch of the Africa hometown. Now, the second paragraph says, under this program, JICA plans to promote exchanges between the 4 Japanese cities and 4 African countries through various activities. Then the third paragraph, which is coming up right now, says, on the other hand, there are no plans to take measures to promote the acceptance of immigrants or issue special visas for residents of African countries. And the series of reports and announcements concerning such measures are not true. So that's a direct response to the statement by the spokesperson in that sense. And that leaves a very bitter taste in the mouth. I must say that with diplomacy, a lot of things are very tricky. First, the language issues, but I imagine that we had good translators to help us understand what they were saying. But what happened was, after the announcement, there was a lot of hue and cry back home in Japan when a lot of Japanese heard about that. So they started saying, what is going on here? And that is how the government now had to retract. So it's a lot of things in the mix, but I don't particularly like how this is playing out, because it's like the Japanese government is saying that our own government is lying.
Interesting. On the issue of immigrants and all of that, it's a welcome development that when the rest of the world, or some part of the world, like America and all of that, are trying to sanitize that space and even trying to chase some people out that they feel that are aliens or illegal immigrants, the Japanese government is doing the best it can to say Africans can come, and do this or that business and all of that. But as you said, Kayode, it's important that we stop this kind of embarrassment and this mistake. I just remember that I think there was one that happened with the UAE incident that caused a lot of trouble. Sometimes we don't know whether the translation was a problem or our spokespersons our communications persons, whether in the ministry level or the presidential level, did not get clarity in terms of what was discussed. I got too excited. I remember it happened with UAE. I think it won't happen with NIDCOM. There's another, I don't want to, but I know something happened around that area that a retraction, is it a rebuttal?
Clarification.
A clarification needed to be done. And this one yet again. So this is directly diplomatically saying, look, we welcome you. Everything is, in place to make sure that these ties are built and consolidated as far as business and diplomacy is concerned, but you're stretching it a bit too far. So I can count from UAE, I think something that affects NIDCOM, I want to be sure so I'm not quoted wrongly, that there had to be a correction or a clarification announced to this. It's just too embarrassing. So the advice is, whoever are the spokespersons, whether at the ministry level or at the presidential level, listen clearly. And if you're not sure, ask questions, because I remember, I think you were the one that did that interview. When you ask, does it mean we can travel immediately? The spokesperson then say yes, and that caused a lot of trouble as far as the issue of trips. So the UAE and Nigeria is concerned. Yet this again, so it doesn't say well. Coordination within communications team should be properly put together. If you're not clear, especially on things like this that are a bit sensitive, there's nothing wrong in asking questions, asking for clarity, asking for proper interpretation, because this is not good. At least I can count 3 instances since this administration when this mess up has happened, and this is not acceptable, not at all.
So let's know what exactly is playing out. If it is the Japanese government that is being, what will I say now, that is trying to just throw us under the bus, let us know. But I know it's diplomacy, but it's important to always protect our image as a nation. But let's show you what more we have for you on the program today. Well, ASUU is back on the streets. Yes, that's the Academic Staff Union of Universities. In fact, SANU is also in the mix. But what is the issue this time with ASUU? Once you hear ASUU, it has to do with our public tertiary institutions, the universities, and that is most likely going to end up in a strike if things are not done right. So what is the issue? We have the leader of ASUU joining us on the program today.
From ASUU, we head to transportation, the train, the Kaduna Abuja train line yet again. This rail line, this corridor has been bedeviled by many things. If it's not an incident of an accident, it's an incident of insecurity, and now this major derailment. What happened? This was really scary to see. We will show you some more pictures when we get to the conversation. But the management will be talking to us later on the show.
And we turn our attention to our traditional institutions, very revered thrones, the Alaafin of Oyo, the Oni of Ife. There's been issues around the chieftaincy title. Who is superior in that sense? Well, we'll give you the historical context to this conversation on the program today, so you better understand the interplay of these institutions.
And from there, we'll head to what played out at the Third Mainland Bridge, unfortunately, to the death of a few persons, where you can see some of the pictures coming in from the Third Mainland Bridge, where it was even an issue to be able to find the body of one of the individuals that is now passed, that has died. We'll bring you up to speed as well with this and what really happened. We'll look at the authorities and from all sides and see exactly what played out on the program. Okay, so that's our outlook for today. There's a lot more going on. There's a lot more being expected. As a break, we'll bring you up to speed. But for now, we will be coming back in just a moment to bring you the dailies.
Your carrier joins us live from our Abuja studio. Is a member Nigerian Guild of Editors, a seasoned journalist. Good morning, Mr. Akera. You're welcome to the program.
Yeah, Kayode, it's a pleasure. Good morning.
Good morning. Let's begin with this Nigeria, and it focuses on the incident not too far from you, Mr. Akera, and that's the derailment. That's how this Nigeria leads this morning. Abuja-Kaduna train services suspended indefinitely. 6 injured as passengers scramble for safety. Outrage over a halt of rail corridor. Fresh safety fears persist. It's a page 4 read. It's a lot in the mix, lots of concerns. You can see a lot of comments about, is this as a result of, vandalism? What exactly is playing out? I think the good part, or the good news, is that no life was lost. And that alone is cheery to note. But lots of questions to be answered. And it's great to see that the Safety Investigation Bureau is handling the investigation. So there's some sort of process now. Any incident that happens, they take over, do the investigation, and then give Nigerians the outcome. But this is close to you, Mr. Kerry. I'm sure you've had to use that rail line at some point.
Well, absolutely. This morning, I must say that my heart bleeds for this country. I listened to the managing director of the Nigeria Railway Corporation yesterday, Mr. Kayode Okpeifa, explaining the issues away. Now, the point is this: sometimes it's good to put these issues in perspective. I must say this morning that the Nigeria Railway Corporation is one of the most incompetent, very incompetent, service provider in this country. Now, I am from Delta State. I often travel through the Itakpe-Warri corridor with the railway, that is on railway, using the coaches. Now, when they first started, the coaches, if you take the business class, which they refer to as the VIP section, it was quite new, well arranged. Now, but even in the very first month that the train services flagged off, first it was the Abuja-Kaduna corridor that flagged off, followed by the Itakpe-Warri corridor. Now, I've also traveled from Abuja to Kaduna a number of times with the train. Then from Itakpe, normally it is not even from Abuja that you can board the train. You have to travel by road to Itakpe in Kogi State before you can then join the train. Now, you could see that within 3 months, there was so much dilapidation inside the coach sheet itself. Then the engines are all gone. You could see that these were just refurbished engines that were brought into the country at a huge cost, billions of naira. That is why I say that the NRC, the management, is very, very incompetent. First and foremost, this is also part of the plight of this country, where people are not brought to account for their bad behavior. Somebody imported these coaches to Nigeria, and I understand that these were even disused coaches that were refurbished. They just simply painted inside, dressed them up, and brought them in. As we speak, the Itakpe-Warri corridor has been shut down for 4 weeks now. And the last time I traveled, it broke down 3 times on the way. There was so much apprehension and fear. Now back to the Abuja-Kaduna corridor that happened, the unfortunate incident that happened, that the train derailed. I listened to the MD yesterday explaining it away that it is not only in Nigeria that trains derail. It's so unfortunate that he could even, rather than apologize, he's talking about, train is a normal occurrence for trains to derail. There were citing countries, maybe India and a few places. But he failed to mention Western civilization. How many times have trains derailed in the UK, in France, in Belgium, in the US? Why can't we emulate countries where services work? So this morning, my heart bleeds. Look at the number of injured. We just thank God that there were no deaths, no casualties. So I don't want to subscribe to this lazy behavior by those who are in charge of important services. Look at Hadi Sirika, for example, who also went to refurbish an aircraft in Ethiopia and brought it in as Nigeria Air. Up to now, he was charged to court at some point, and the matter has gone cold. So this is the problem we have in this country, where people, individuals, who have a responsibility to the Nigerian people, fail to discharge those responsibilities. The organizations that they run are riddled with corruption, with perfidy, and people are just, people cannot account for their stewardship. That's what I see with the NRC. I expect President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to actually set up, a panel of investigation to investigate the activities of the NRC. It makes so much money, but they offer very, very poor services. The toilets are always locked. They will just put it there, toilet bath, out of use. So once you board the train, a journey, if you are traveling from Itakpe to Warri, for example, it's a journey of about 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours. You can't use the toilet, you can't urinate, you are just stuck to your seat. So what kind of service is that? Then not to talk of the regular breakdown of the engines on the way. So the Kaduna incident is not a surprise. They are alluding it to sabotage. Maybe the rail tracks were sabotaged, or the NSIB is investigating. Wait to see the outcome of the investigation. But I'm not impressed this morning because I know I travel, I use the trains a lot. They offer very, very poor and bad services. Very, very poor and bad services. I expect to even resign his position this morning, because the truth is that in this country nobody resigns. When things happen, people just stay in their position and then offer very lousy excuses. I'm not impressed. That is the truth, and I just thank God that there are no casualties on the Abuja incident, Abuja-Kaduna incident.
Okay, well, you've raised a very important point. They'll be here to respond to some of the things you've raised as well. I've not used a particular trend, so you have a personal experience, and you've held your position. Those are maybe some of the first line of questions before we get into the derailment that they will need to respond to. But let's get to the Vanguard newspaper, which is leading with politics. The PDP had zoned its presidential tickets in 2027 to the south. So Vanguard is leading presidency northern blocks. Oppose PDP zoning tickets to the south. Some of the writers here: Northern youth kick against PDP's decision. We won't take it. Not central stakeholders tell PDP APC. Decision violates Nigeria's party's constitution. Hashim Group. So many writers. APC PDP may lose in the north to a strong northern candidate. That's credited to, I think, Nasser El-Rufai. PDP members demanding zoning ticket to north, selfish. That's according to Bode George. Obi keeps LP, PDP guessing. ADC tackles PDP APC on a zoning ticket 2 years to the poll. Says PDP trying to lure Jonathan Obi Amechi. So the writers have said a lot. What do you make of what is happening here, sir?
Well, these are interesting times for the country. First and foremost, a lot of people wrote the PDP off. That the PDP had become a dead horse. Nothing was going to come out of it, and that it was better that the PDP naturally asphyxiate into non-existence. But somehow the PDP has been able to reinvent itself. It has demonstrated very clearly that it is a party to watch out for. That is as far as the PDP can go. But now, to the issue of the North and South politics that we have played since 1960 when Nigeria secured independence from Britain. I'm not enamored by, the conversation around where the president of the country should come from. I think that is why we have experienced very stunted growth and development across board, whether it is in services, it is even in health, in the health sector, in education, in public governance, in policy issues. Now, once you gravitate leadership from one zone to the other, yes, one is not unmindful or sensitive to the fragility of the country, as some people have argued that Nigeria is a fragile country and that there's a need, to orchestrate participatory democracy where everybody, every region, every state, almost every community should be carried along. I think that is where, for me, we are getting it wrong. It should not be a contest between the North and South. But since that is what we are getting used to in Nigeria, the PDP has read the mood. I listened to Abba Moro yesterday, the minority leader in the Senate, who explained what happened at the 102 NEC meeting of the PDP, where the decisions were taken. He said that in 2023, the PDP lost to the APC because he took a wrong decision by fielding a northern candidate when a northerner, the late President Muhammadu Buhari, just served out 8 years. And so for them to pick Atiku Abubakar, another northerner, and of course a Fulani like Buhari, that was a misstep. It was an error of judgment, and they paid dearly for it by losing that election. But at this time, they are reading the political temperature correctly and the expectation of Nigerians. That is why they are zoning it to the south. The PDP has zoned to the south. The APC has the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in power. He is from the APC from the southwest. We wait to see where the presidential candidate of the PDP will come from. Peter Obi is there. Former President Goodluck Jonathan is being taunted that is coming into the race. The ADC is locking in the corner, yet to decide where each presidential candidate will come from. All of these are part of the political maneuverings and the calculations ahead of 2027, just barely 2 years away. But for me, whilst the politicians, are groveling, are swiddling in their musical chairs, and their chessboard, where is the fate of the average Nigerian? As I speak to you this morning, the Vanguard has rightly captured it, and I'm sure a couple of the papers reported that Nigerians are suffering. There is multi-dimensional poverty in the country. Nigeria is rated as one of the poorest countries in the world amidst the humongous wealth, the natural resources that we have in the country, whether it's in oil and gas and rare earth minerals that is in abundance in the northern part of the country. So the politicians are not speaking to the issues as far as I'm concerned. I expect, or I look forward, and I'm sure most Nigerians who are listening to us this morning will be waiting to see a leader who will have the interests of the average Nigerian at heart. I'm here to see that because there's so much about, it's all about themselves, it's all about the elite, the ruling class. They are having so much, in fact, the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Allocation Commission even talking about reviewing upwards the allowances and salaries of politicians and all of that when Nigerians are suffering. Look at ASUU. ASUU is about going on strike. They are threatening, they're giving notices. So we need a leader who can address these issues, who will speak to the issues, how to address the biting poverty in the country. It is not enough for anybody to say that we are taking out fuel subsidy, we are going to float the naira. What is the policy strategy to address, to push back the effect of some of these policies? We are here to see that. It is also not enough to bandy figures that the economy is stabilizing and it is now, hooray, people can go and celebrate. Yes, I give it to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He's able to reverse the negative international image that the country is having. For those who are condemning the president that he's been traveling a lot, I do not share, in that sentiment. Before the president came to power 2 years ago, before it was inaugurated, Nigeria has a very bad and negative international image to the extent that the green passport, it's not respected. Now we are beginning to see countries warming up to Nigeria again because of the goodwill that Mr. President is taking to other countries. It's in Brazil. We can see what the promises and all the agreements that have been signed between Nigeria and Brazil. President Lula da Silva of Brazil is, receiving President Bola Ahmed. This is the third time he's visiting Brazil, and we could see, but we wait to see actually some of the dividends. But I'm hopeful and optimistic that it's going to produce results. He left Japan not too long. So for me, his international travels are good, but he needs to come back home, also visit the states. He needs to also focus on the domestic issues, whilst he's focusing on the international issues. There must be a corresponding blend of these two, so that Nigerians can begin to witness the dividends. Otherwise, the elections in 2027 is going to be determined by performance and not really by people who bandy about their political parties. I think Nigerians are not interested in any political party at this time. The leadership recruitment process in this country is faulty. It is problematic. Almost all the political parties, I'm sure, no ordinary Nigerian can have a ticket of a political party where you have to pay 100 million, 50 million to get, to buy the forms, the expression of interest forms of the political parties. I have never seen any country in the world where all of this happen, where so much is paid to aspire to public office. I think that's also part of the problem.
Well, it's always a debate, really, when you speak to politicians. They'll tell you, did you know how much Donald Trump raised just to run for the president of the United States and all of that. But I mean, let's take a pause on politics, right? Because what good is politics if the policies or governance is not good enough? New Telegraph is next with the front page story that ASUU is warning, or ASUU warning protests ground varsities nationwide as members kick against FG's loan scheme on paid salaries, ask governments to sign pact August the 28th to avert what it describes as mother of all strikes. August the 20th, by the way, is tomorrow. And just to mention, just on top of the front page, you see that story, CBN setting deadline for mandatory geotagging of payment terminals. So that means that every single payment terminal is meant to be geotagged to a location. So every POS will be geotagged to a location. And I imagine that this will reduce fraud and using it to scam people and all of that. But that's just on the side. We have about a minute left, Mr. Carrier, on this ASUU matter. What do you make of it? Because it looks like this government has found a way to avoid strikes so far.
Well, I commend the CBN first and foremost for that initiative. It's not to curb, proceeds from kidnapping, terrorism, where people just withdraw money, and even this one chance people who carry POS machines around and then get people to inside their cars, and then they just withdraw their money. So it's a commendable step. Now for ASUU, I think this is sad that every time we are bedeviled by this problem where ASUU has to threaten strike, the blame goes to the government. The government has not kept to its part of the bargain. All the agreements from 2003, if you read all the reports and all the issues that ASUU is raising, apart from their welfare, they're also talking about even the conditions in the campuses, that they are quite appalling. So I think this is a wake-up call on the government. The Minister of Education is doing very well. I follow his activities. He's doing very well. He's coming up with a lot of innovation that is encouraging.
Right.
This is an issue that has to be addressed very quickly. ASUU must not go on strike. Our young people must not sit at home. We are already lagging behind in terms of technology and other issues that is education related. So ASUU going on strike, it's not going to speak well. It's going to demarket the country again. So for me, it is an issue that the government has to address very quickly.
Mr. Ayo, we have to thank you so much. You came out, as always, guns blazing this morning. I mean, we need that. He's a member of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Always a pleasure to have you on the program, Mr. Carrier.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
We'll take a moment now, and when we return, we're starting off with the ASUU issue. The leader of the Academic Staff Union of Universities joins us next on the program. Please stay with us.